Powell, the new Running Man movie starring Glenn Powell, was just released, and I liked it. I thought it was a fun and entertaining action movie, and I thought Glenn Powell did a good job in the role, and so did Josh Brolin and among the others like Michael Cera and Katie O'Brien. Thought they were good in the role, but I'm gonna tell you guys right now. This is not a review of the 2025 Running Man movie. What is this then? This is a comparison video with this film and the 1987 Running Man movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, and see which one is better. Now I should probably start by saying, now pointing the video, am I gonna address the book that these movies are based on? Because these two movies are based on a book written by Stephen King under the name Richard Bachman. I don't know, and apparently the new version is apparently more faithful than the 1987 version, but since I have no idea what's book accurate or inaccurate about it, I can't say that the new version is accurate. So I'm sure a lot of people in the comments that know the book will say it's accurate. But anyways, let's talk about both of these movies. So one thing interesting about these two movies is that aside that they're both about the game Running Man and that the main character is Ben Richards, these are two very different movies, because in the 1987 film, it's about Ben Richards, a cop who gets framed for something he did not do actually, and then he escapes from prison and tries to find a way to clear his name and tries to get help from a woman named Amber, but it didn't work out, and then he gets taken by Killian, the host of the Running Man show, where he becomes a participant in the game and tries to survive from all the crazy psychotic participants in the game, like Buzzsaw, Fireball, this one dude with like lights in his outfit, and the 2025 version, Ben Richards is a dude who has a wife and a daughter, and his daughter is sick and tries to find a way to get a doctor, medicine, and the only way to do that is to get money from a game show. That show that he ended up participating, ended up being the Running Man. In this case, the Running Man is a game show where the participants like run throughout the city, and Ben tries to find a way to survive while like wearing disguises and going to living in different apartments and meeting with some other allies trying to help, and tries to survive the game, because a lot of people who participate in the game gets founded and get killed by the hunters. So yeah, so basically these are different movies in a way. And let's start off who was the better actor, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Glenn Powell. I do think both actors did a good job. Of course, I'm a big Arnold fan, like ever since I was 10 years old, and I thought he did good in the role. I mean, it's a very Arnold Schwarzenegger role with all the yelling and all the one-liners he gives, like, "Here's Sub-Zero, now Plane Zero," but I thought he was fun in the role. It's not one of my favorite roles from his, but I thought he did a good job with what he did in the film. But Glenn Powell's the better actor. I've not seen a lot of him recently, except for Scream Queens and Twisters. But I really thought he was awesome in the movie. I really was feeling bad for him, and I was really rooting for him to hopefully find a way to help his daughter. And I really thought he was also fun and funny in the movie. He had some funny scenes and funny lines. And a lot, I do like a lot of his scenes where he gets angry because he shows a lot of range in the movie. What year when it's like when like the Running Man show uses fake rants, or like when he actually said like actual speech like at the airport, and and like ranting at Dan at the beginning of the film. I thought he was really, really good in the movie. I really enjoyed him in the film a lot more than Arnold. I thought he was excellent in the role as Ben Richards. So, love you, Arnold, but Glenn is the better actor in the film. And I thought the portrayal of Killian in both the movies are very well done. Who is the main antagonist of the movies? Like in the original, where he's played by Richard Dawson, and the new one he's played by Josh Brolin. They're also very different as well, because in this movie, he's like a producer on the show. Because in this film, the host is Bobby T, which is kind of interesting. And he's also very intimidating as well, Bobby T as well. He's a very intimidating villain, but and so is Josh Brolin in this role, and but in the 1987 version, Dawson Killian is the host of the Running Man, and I do think both. I do think Dawson and Brolin played the role very intimidating. I thought they were these very memorable antagonists. Dawson's version is more sinister than Brolin's version, but they're still villains as well. And I really thought they did a great job, and they made for a very worthy uh, uh, enemies to Ben Richards. And yeah, so I'll have to give props to both of these movies for having a great villain of Killian or Killigan and the new one. And I thought some of the supporting characters throughout the Running Man, both of these were movies were solid now, like Amber in the original and the two other participants that unfortunately don't make alive. And in the new version, we have like Amelia, we have like the Michael Cera, and bunch of other characters that interact with Ben Richards. Meanwhile, he is participating in the Running Man. I thought they were decent characters for the little screen time that they had. Um, and I thought the action in both of the films were very memorable. Like in the original, they were kind of intense. Like when Ben Richards kills Sub Zero in the throat, or like when he saws Buzzsaw in the crotch, or like when he tries to kill uh, Dynamo, but he didn't want to do it, unfortunately. And one scene where Jesse Ventura's character apparently quote unquote kills Amber and Ben, only except is not, because it was digitally altered to make it look like it was Ben. It was someone else. That was a very brutal scene in the original. This in this new version, the action is still fun. Is usually kind of like a block normal drag action that we see in a lot of modern day action movies, but they're still fun. I thought they were very memorable. I really like the some of the funny parts, like the grenade part in this movie, or like when Michael Cera shoots people, like shoots some of the hunters with the gun. I thought that was a very fun scene. Both of these movies had great action, though I think the action in the original is more intense, honestly. And I thought the villain, also the other villains like Buzzsaw and like Dynamo, like they were fun villains and Fireball as well. The Hunter ones were decent enough. They were decent. Um, so yeah, so I have to say I do like both of these movies, but I do honestly prefer the 2025 version by all means. Um, so that's my thoughts on both of these movies, the Running Man 1987 and the 2025 version. So let me know, Coswell, your thoughts on these movies, and peace out. Bye.